Ziz searched for 3 more days. He brought back lots of words to Mount Sinai. Words like rock, that's hard, rhinoceros, ridiculous, and Rumpelstiltskin. Each time, God sent Ziz back to find another word. By the evening of Yom Kippur, the Ziz had brought over 100 words to Mount Sinai, and God had not accepted any one of them. The Ziz was discouraged. He had tried and tried. He flew back to Mount Sinai to have one more discussion with God. What word did you bring this time? God asked. No word, the Ziz said. No word? God asked. No, said the Ziz sadly. I've come to say I'm sorry. I can't find the hardest word. You can't? God asked. No, Ziz shook his head. I'm sorry. You're sorry? God asked. Yes, Ziz nodded his big purple head. I'm sorry. Good job, God said. You found the hardest word. I did? Now the Ziz was confused. Yes, God said, the hardest word is sorry. While all the words you brought were hard, sorry is the hardest. I always say I'm sorry on Yom Kippur, the Ziz said. Well, you should say it other times too, God answered. Like when I smashed the garden, Ziz asked. That's right, God said. The Ziz thanked God and pulled his purple feathered head out of heaven. Then he spread out his great big wings and flew back to the children's garden. On the way, he stopped at his own garden and gathered a big basket of fruits and vegetables for the children. It was time to say the hardest word.
So that is our time, our story time for all ages. Thank you to our special guest for it. I invite you all back to your seats now as we continue the service. Thank you.
Returning to their seats, I'd like to invite you all to find yourself in your seats. Find your place in your body. Maybe feel your sit bones pressing into the pews. And your feet on the floor. If you're feeling your feet on the floor or your sit bones in the pews, go ahead and feel that deep, powerful, grounding energy of the earth. You want to press your feet into the floor. Feel the strength that's there. And attend to your breath. Feel it moving in and out. And at the very tip top of your head, feel a connection to the sky. Spirit of life and love, Holy One of our being and our becoming, that which is sacred within, among, and beyond us. Mix in with us today as we return to our church services carrying the water of our summer, the water of our hopes and our fears. All the feelings we're carrying with us mix and merge with the welcome of our whole selves. All of our mistakes, our missteps, all the times we have aimed and missed the mark, all our regrets, our failures, our struggles. Today we let those go, that we might be able to welcome one another wholly, the joy and the fear, the struggle and the hope, all for the long run. Spirit of life, be not just with us this morning, but with all the congregations merging water all around the country this Sunday. May the Spirit of life run through all this water and through the body of Unitarian Universalism, nourishing us all, making us stronger and more resilient. May our collective waters bring us together, that justice might roll down and peace might ever flow through our souls. May it be so.
Our second reading today is Blessings by Jan Richardson. The mark of a true blessing is that it will take you where you did not think to go. Once through this door, there will be more. More doors, more blessings, more who watch and wait for you. But here at this door of beginning, the blessing cannot be said without you. So lay your palm against the frame that those before you touched. Place your feet where others paused, in the entryway. Say the thing that you need most, and the door will open wide. And by this word, the door is blessed. From which door to door, all the rest will come.
Every week we have an opportunity to express our values through sharing our resources. We give not because we're obligated to, but because through our giving this community offers us both meaning and support. We give not because it makes the church possible, but because the church makes all of us together possible. This morning's offering will be gratefully received. May it be joyfully given. Will the ushers please come forward? So we heard from our special guest that tonight at sundown, the Jewish New Year, Rosh Hashanah begins. This is an opportunity and a time for coming to terms with one's life, what's happened in the last year, oneself and one's relationship. It's an opportunity to examine oneself and one's actions, who we are now and who we want to become. Where in our lives are we not in right relationship, and what would it take to bring us back into right relationship? Where do we need to forgive? Where do we need to be forgiven? By allowing others to witness our process and to hold us accountable and hold one another accountable, we strengthen our community, as well as our commitment to build the beloved community. So, to begin our church year, and also in commemorating the beginning of the new Jewish year, we're going to engage in a ritual of forgiveness. So what I'd like to ask you all to do is you're going to rise in either body or spirit, and face someone near you. It might be a family member, it might be a partner, it might be a child or a parent, it might be a friend or a neighbor, it might be somebody you're just meeting. But turn to someone who's nearby you. And I'm going to read Rob Eller Isaac's Litany of Forgiveness. And after each sentence that I read, I want you to say to each other, to the person who's actually standing in front of you, I forgive myself. I forgive you. We begin again in love. So that's your line. You don't need to look at anything. There are no pieces of paper involved in this ritual. You're just looking at your partner. So let's practice now. I forgive myself. I forgive you. We begin again in love. All right. So please rise in either body or spirit. Find your partner. Once you've found your partner, go ahead and look at me so I know that you're set. Is anyone still looking? If you're still looking, raise your hand right now. I mean, still looking for a partner. Okay. Very good. Okay, so please join with me in this responsive litany of atonement. For remaining silent when a single voice would have made a difference.
I forgive myself, I forgive you, begin again in love.
For each time that our fears have made us rigid and inaccessible.
I forgive myself, I forgive you, begin again in love.
For each time that we have struck out in anger without just cause.
I forgive myself, I forgive you, begin again in love.
time that my greed has blinded me to the needs of others.
I forgive myself. I forgive you.
For the selfishness which sets us apart and alone.
I forgive myself. I forgive you.
For falling short of the admonitions of the Spirit.
I forgive myself. I forgive you.
For losing sight of our unity.
I forgive myself. I forgive you.
For those and for so many acts, both evident and subtle, which have fueled the illusion of separateness.
I forgive myself. I forgive you.
Go ahead and thank your partner. And now you may remain standing in either body or spirit and join us in the homily hymn number 318. We will be one. In Germany, we see images of residents welcoming migrants with cheers and open arms. We see Syrian migrants grinning and shouting and running towards relief and welcome after a long and harrowing journey. Germans making food, bringing migrants water and snacks and toys for the children. Radical welcome. This is the beginning. But the beginning, with all of its joy and its intention and its invitation and connection and welcome, is the easy part. Radical welcome is about more than being met warmly at the door. It means long-lasting relationship, and true welcome is a welcome of the whole person, the entirety of a people into long-term relationship. So when you move past the immediate, that rush of joy when meeting one another, there comes the matter of difference, deep difference. There's history and culture and mistakes There's a whole human being and all the messy, complicated humanness of that other being. Even with the best of intentions, real relationships are complex. In Germany, the residents and the migrants need one another. Germany is a country with an aging population. The Syrians bring young families. They also bring a different culture and a different theology. Some Germans are afraid of how their country might change. Because truly welcoming the Syrians means welcoming them as they are and welcoming their whole selves. Truly welcoming in new ways of thinking and being means welcoming in change. The country will not be as it always has been. We change everyone we interact with, and we are also changed by them. As Octavia Butler wrote in the parable of the sower, all that you touch, you change. And all that you change, changes you. The only lasting truth is change. We want to welcome our friends and our family back to church, and we want to welcome the new people in our midst. This is a church where we pride ourselves on radical welcome. And we also know that radical welcome is a practice. We love the fun part, the part where we get to throw up our hands in joy and reach out to one another. We bring gifts from our summer, little pieces of ourselves to share, some water. We bring love and delight, connection and hope. Today is the beginning, when blessing is begun and we place our hand on the door frame that others have passed through, when we move our feet through the footsteps of those who have come before us. But blessings, true blessings, take you where you did not think to go. Welcome, true welcome, welcomes the entirety of the person. And that, my dear friends, is a mystery. We do not know what the future will hold when we truly and radically welcome one another and the stranger. Our whole selves are sometimes a mystery to us, let alone other people who don't live inside our heads. A whole self interacting with another whole self, that's two infinites interacting with one another. Anything could happen there. Add to that differences in history and in culture and in experience, and you have layers and layers of possibility. In longer and deeper relationship, we discover what radical welcome really means and whether we really mean it. Rabbi Jonathan Sacks counted the number of times love of strangers is called for in the Hebrew scriptures as compared to the love of neighbors. That number is 36-1. Calling ourselves to love the stranger is a bigger ask. It's more difficult, it's scarier, and perhaps it's more telling of who we are. To love the stranger brings surprise. It allows us to know ourselves in a new way and to know the whole better by getting to know this new, more distant part. It also brings possibility. The strange opens us up to new ways of being and doing. The stranger brings special gifts, new gifts that create new possibility for community. The stranger brings a new way that we could not have dreamed without them, because we change everything that we touch, and we are changed by everything that we change. Radical Welcome also understands differences in power. The Anglican Church defines Radical Welcome this way: a commitment to doing the work to eliminate systemic barriers that would limit our embrace of marginalized people. So Radical Welcome there isn't only about fully embracing the stranger, it's also about looking within our hearts and also within our systems to see what obstacles might block us from fully embracing the stranger. Which brings us to forgiveness. We must forgive ourselves and each other to fully embrace one another. Others come to us with the past, and we come to others with the past. We have not been perfect. We have not lived up to our highest values. We have failed ourselves and one another. To fail is human and natural. We have to be able to let those failures go in order to begin again, fresh, with new hope and new love. This is what coming to church is about. It's about seeing ourselves, being able to recognize our mistakes, and then pledge again to do better next time. It's about holding one another to our highest resolve to do better next time. It's about letting go of our past mistakes to be fully present with one another and to begin again in love. That together we might be able to experience the voice of being, of perpetual becoming. That together we might learn to be like the river everywhere at the same time, at the source and at the mouth, at the waterfall, at the ferry, at the current, in the ocean, and in the mountains, everywhere. And that the present only exists for it, not the shadow of the past, nor the shadow of the future. We let go of the past that we might rush together in the present, merging our individual selves into the river of community, become one, rumbling over those blocking rocks of indifference and prejudice and exclusion, rushing forwards, our whole selves, held by this community and holding each other to our highest resolve in the miraculous unfolding, becoming beloved community. May it be so and blessed be. So this morning we're having our annual Water Communion service. Water Communion is a Unitarian Universalist tradition that is usually held on the first Sunday of the new church year. Unitarian Universalist churches all over the country are going to be doing Water Communion ceremonies. And the idea is that folks have brought water from something over their summer, anywhere from a place that you've been with your family or your community to the cat's water dish to the tap downstairs. So what we have here, in case you forgot your water, we do have a pitcher with church water in it, including a little bit of water from our last year's Water Communion. And this water, once we merge it, it becomes the community water, and we use it for blessings in the community. So we use it for communal rituals, whether that's a child dedication or anointing the sick. We use this water for it. Sometimes we sprinkle a little bit in our garden so that the garden grows with the water of community. So what we're going to do for Water Communion is I invite you all to calm down and stand in a line heading towards this sort of coral seashell. You can see it, it's right there. And in the Wiccan tradition, water is the carrier of emotion. So we're talking about our feelings and connecting with one another today. So as you pour your water into the bowl, I'm going to invite you to say a single feeling word. Something about how you're feeling right now at this moment as we're coming back and merging together as a community. So I'm going to give you some examples of feeling words. Happy is a feeling word. Hopeful is a feeling word. Frustrated is a feeling word. Anxious is a feeling word.
Hey, Doug.
Douglas is ready for the water ceremony. It's exciting, I get it. So, we are going to begin our water ceremony now, so get your feeling word held in your mind, bring your water, and you can come on down. Yeah. And I think we have somebody who's ready, so Douglas, what's your feeling word?
B.
Hopeful.
Happy that church is back.
Hopeful.
Grateful.
Excited.
Welcome.
Happy and hopeful. Happy that we have gained a relationship with Cuba and hopeful that it lasts, and this is water from Cuba.
Sad and happy. Happy for grandbaby, sad for all those services being withdrawn from those most vulnerable in the state.
Excited about my new dog. Still missing. The dog that passed away this summer. So sad also. Hopeful for the new year.
Happy to be 88 years old in the land I live in.